Well, hello everyone. How you doing? Still getting used to this live streaming. Let me tilt you a little bit there. So sorry about that. I have this computer here, and the while I was moving around the camera a little bit. Still getting used to this. So anyway, welcome to the chat today. Welcome to the live stream as it is. And today, folks, I want to talk about what's going on at Disney. Now, first off, I want to start off with I'm a lifelong lover of Disney. I'm a former cast member, worked with Disney over 10 years, and I can't wait to work there again one day. So to me, and we're annual pass holders, we're there very frequently. If you look at my channel or my Facebook, you'll see that it's a heck of a, we go there pretty often. We live in Sarasota. So anyway, but so what I consider this to be is almost like an intervention for a company that I just love so much. It's like a relative doing something really ridiculous, and you make an intervention, and whether my intervention is really going to make a difference. But the fact of the matter is that Disney World is empty, folks. And when I say empty, I'm talking from a standpoint of me working. I worked primarily Magic Kingdom for over 7 years in guest relations and merchandise and security. And I could tell you that now 4th of July and this week, this should be the busiest week of the year. I looked at my camera and my app, and it's empty. I mean, when I say empty, it means it's like maybe you have, instead of having 60,000 people in the park, you have 35,000. So what's going on? Let's talk about that in this live stream. And I want to thank you guys for watching. How you doing, Lewis, out there? Thanks for joining me. Sorry about the for the Bonner report. Sorry about the little technical difficulty there. I had to reboot it and come back on. So what spurred this particular live stream? And I think it was, I'm going to go to my phone here and just read this for you real quick. So this is an article that was on, this is a pretty reputable operation. I read it off the internet, so it's got to be true, right? But seriously, though, it's allears.net. And what it said was July 6th was a rough day. 24% of the Disney World rides, meaning all four parks, were unexpectedly closed. So now, what's happening? We'll go back to that in a little bit. So what's happening at Disney now? It just seems like all of a sudden, and I entitled this Olympus Has Fallen. The company that was just perfect in so many ways has seems to be now imperfect and far from imperfect. There's not really a lot of creativity. There doesn't seem to be a tremendous love for Walt. The Star Wars brand, I mean, look at the stock. Stock is down to what, about $98, $99 now. So I'm sure the investors aren't happy. There was a win with Inside 2, but with all the reshoots going on for Captain America 4 and the next the Snow White movie that's coming out in 2025, that's another whole thing we got to talk about. But first off, you say to yourself, well, why is Disney World empty? And I'm going to focus primarily on the Magic Kingdom because that's my favorite park. And okay, hey Peter, welcome Peter, another former cast member joining us. Look what they did to Epcot. Absolutely, it's a doggone shame. Now I just did a video speaking of that, and I want to bring the stream however way you guys want to bring it. But I just did a video over in Communicore, the brand new area that they set up over in Epcot, and supposedly the renovations for Epcot, which took like 3 or 4 years. Now we know we had the pandemic mixed in there, but 100, what was it? No, what did they spend over there? I believe it was $5 billion on Epcot, and $5 billion on Epcot. And what did they put in Communicore? You can watch my video. There is really nothing in there. They have an Encanto show that's like a Milli Vanilli deal where, okay, fine, but there's a whole, like, looks like a big cafeteria, and there's nothing in there. There's no food. It's just a bunch of tables and chairs with people sitting in the air conditioner. This is a huge thing. And you go outside, there's a tiny little quick serve thing over there. It looks like like AstroTurf that they put down. And like I said, that's Communicore West. Communicore used to be the most fun thing ever. You went there as a kid, or as my son was little, even when I was younger, and it was incredible. This also has no shade, no covering. The poor cast members who have to sing all those songs that are canned, they have no covering on them either. So Communicore was a tremendous bust as well. Let's see. Maybe they added the utilidor without telling anyone. I don't know. They certainly didn't tell me about it. So, folks, the utilidor is the underground area of the Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is built on the second floor, and again, these are the innovations that you used to see at Disney. Disney was like watching World Wonders or something like that. It was like modern marvels, and now it's just it's just it's underwhelming. And worse than being underwhelming, let's get to the meat of things, right? To get into the park, prices are going insane, ridiculous. They sound like Crazy Eddie from New York, right? $175 for a 1 day ticket for an adult to get into one of the Disney parks. Now it varies a little bit. Animal Kingdom's a little cheap because they don't want to admit it, but it's a half-day park. I love all the parks. Nothing beats Magic Kingdom or Epcot, but let's face it, Animal Kingdom is a half-day park. That's why it closes at 5 or 6 o'clock every night. Um, but $175 to get in. Now let's just say, now we're annual pass holders. Why we got that, of course, because we love Disney. But if you go 3 or 4 times, it pays for itself. That's why we got it. So just imagine this now: a family of four, $175 each. Kids are like 170, so there's no big break off. Once the kid is 3 years old, the kid you have to pay for a kid. So I'm sure there's a lot of people going in there. In fact, I know there's a lot of people going in there saying the kid is under three when he's probably like 6. So you figure 4 people coming in, it's $30 to park. Okay, City Field, Yankee Stadium, that's just the same thing as well. But just to start off with, so you're talking about just for 1 day now, you're talking like $730 just to get in the door. Now let's talk about food. Okay, food prices have gone totally ridiculously insane. And again, I talk from a point of experience because Carrie and I try to go to the parks at least minimal once a month. If we can go 2 or 3, we try to go 2 or 3. But we recently went to Pinocchio Village House. Now, again, for me, Disney's a special thing more than just, I'm not a guy going there looking to get my money's worth and I want to see everything. For me, it's a memory, between we lost my son 5 years ago. So I look back, I think about my son in there. I think about my dad who's passed, relatives who have passed, happy memories of Disney. I like the calmness. I need the serenity. This is why I'm going there. I'm not really going there to really see the next greatest thing. I want to see something new, sure, or be involved in something. We went on Tiana's, and we'll get to Tiana's log flume thing next, or along the way. But we're talking $700 and $30 just to get in. We recently went to Pinocchio Village House, which is not a fancy place. We had 2 pieces of pizza. Sorry, Louis, you've heard the story like 4 times already. 2 pieces of pizza, a small little portion of tomato soup. And when I say the portions are small now, they're small. It's like Dudley Moore said in Arthur, the country's so small they recently had it carpeted. 2 pieces of pizza, 1 salad, tomato soup, and 2 sodas. $48. I mean, was it, and it's, all right, you're in there, it's nice, we enjoy it, we just kind of sit there. But for people going in, it's absolutely ridiculous. All right, so let's talk about, again, on the way of prices, right? Hey kids, do you want to go to Disney or do you want to go to college? You're right, Lewis. I mean, this is what this is coming down to. And when people, and I'm no travel agent by any stretch of the imagination, but people do call me here and there, and I'll tell them, I said, listen, if you want to save money going to Disney, you have every restaurant chain known to humankind on 192 on International Drive in and around Walt Disney World. You're better off going in there and going to a Golden Corral and pigging out before you go in. Of course, you're going to have to walk in the sun and all that. And then going in and having like an ice cream or a dessert at Disney. That's your best bet. And initially this seems like it's a lot of money. I highly recommend the buffets because the buffets are $66 a person. They're character buffets. They're really great. But what happens is you could have 2 meals in the place of 1. So in that sense, you're going to be saving some money right there. Okay, so why else aren't people coming to Disney? All right, so you got the initial prices going in. You got the food prices, which are high. Keeping on with the food situation, I'm a big Coca-Cola drinker. I shouldn't drink it. I don't need to drink it. I always say I need to be cutting down on my weight and all that. But the fact of the matter is they don't have large sodas anymore. So they kept the price of the medium soda $4.49. I can tell you the exact price of it, and you're getting a medium soda now. And some places are refills, okay, but no more big cup. They've eliminated straws. They've eliminated caps on the cups. All right, they said it was for the animals. Okay, we can go with that. Since the pandemic, they've also eliminated all the salad bars. So if you haven't been to Disney in a long time, if you remember going to Pecos Bill, or you remember going to Tomorrowland Terrace, or any one of those Disney kind of quick sit down places, you had some people made a meal of it. You had lettuce, tomato, you had all kinds of salad dressings in there. You had pickles, you had Pecos Bill had all the cut up tomatoes and all kinds of great different, like the corn, the street corn. All of it is gone. None of that anymore. So that's gone away. Okay, so how about, and again, if you want to go farther back, here's one that really gets me. And Pete, if you're still there, Pete was on Dream Squad with me. They do not, and this flabbergasted me. Even though we go to Disney a lot, we don't really look to do magic moments because we're older, and my son, we don't have grandchildren. We're not going with grandkids or anything. I talked to one of my friends in there who's a coordinator in Fantasyland, and I wanted to have my wife pull the sword out of the stone just for like a gag, and because my wife's funny on the videos and stuff, I thought it'd make a good video for my channel. And what did the coordinator tell me was that we don't do magical moments anymore, not since the pandemic. Now, every land, now again, Pete would echo this if he's still on there. Every land had a magical moment. So in Fantasyland, you have the sword on the stone. In Frontierland, we used to pan for gold with the kids, which we used to put these little golden Mickeys in the sand, and we'd let the kids find them. In Tomorrowland, we used to, during the fireworks, they used to shut off the extra orbiter. I'm saying Star Jets. You guys know what I'm talking about. And we used to bring folks up to the second floor, where you get onto these Star Jets or extra orbiter, and they would have a special experience. That was a magical moment there. Also in Tomorrowland, we used to have little cars. We used to race them near like where the Indy 500 Speedway is. All kinds of magical moments, and not just a few of them. They don't do any magical moments anymore. So, all right, so you lost the magical moments. I couldn't speak too much for this one, but currently what people are going crazy about at Disney is the disability pass. Disney has changed the entire thing. So people who had the disability pass before, we know there was a lot of people abusing it. We know there was even some people hiring themselves out as tourists, as tour guides, and they were utilizing that pass to get people quicker on the line. But people are so unhappy with that. We have a friend of ours who we know, and he's a pediatrician, and he's got a child with special needs, and he's very unhappy with it. And this is a guy that's a big Disney fan, and they're making it very, very hard or impossible to get this disability pass. And one of the things they told people who were applying for it or whatever was practice standing in line at home. I mean, to people who have a disability, it's ridiculous. All right, so you have all of that. So now let's talk about the rides. The rides, which were always cutting edge of anything. I mean, they didn't even make these rides. Disney had to do them. That's why he created the Imagineers. These rides are breaking down like crazy. Now, if you look at Tiana's Bayou, I don't know why that ride is breaking down so much. I could tell you that it's not the logs themselves, because the logs are new. I babysat the logs myself. That doesn't sound so good, does it? But when they would deliver new for the ride it was still Splash Mountain back in 2020, and they delivered them to Typhoon Lagoon, and they put me on a special detail down there. Yeah, it was so hard. I got to watch a bunch of boats all night, but it was cool. Hey, it is what it is, right? Yeah, just freaking repurposed. So they spent. Now here's the kicker of Tiana's. They spent $100 million on that ride. And again, I mean, look, Tiana needed a ride. No problem with Tiana getting a ride. But they said they switched out the entire ride. Why? Because it was insulting to people. Now, again, I've been on guest relations for a couple of years. I was on guest relations, and I could tell you a lot of people complained about a lot of different things, a lot of nutty things. Had a guy once come up who said he ordered a gluten-free pizza and he got a regular pizza instead. And I asked him, where is it? And he said, well, I ate it. Okay, so I gave him, a no strings, as we call it, for a pizza. Heard of a lot of complaints. Have never heard of a complaint for something like that. But here's the really weird part of it is they're saying it's something that's embarrassing, but Mr. Basket, who was the actor in Song of the South, he got an eternal Oscar. He's only one of two people who ever have gotten that. Walt Disney put this man in the movie in 1946. Walt was ahead of his time, way ahead of his time. When you consider that the first black actor to getting a supporting role Academy Award was Louis Gossett Jr. for Officer and a Gentleman in 1982, and look at 1946, Walt created this movie. They totally took apart that entire legacy of what that man did. And all right, I mean, look, but here's the kicker of the ride. Where did that $100 million go? I went on the ride. It's no problem. I enjoy the concept. It's not what they call a book report ride. The whole concept is they did change the concept, but the whole concept is you're trying to find the band, and you got to go along. But if you look at where all the audio animatronics were before, you'll see that the new ones are in the very same exact place. So I don't know where they spent $100 million on this ride. It boggles my mind. They've been on the ride. And I recently saw another article. I should have brought that up too, but I think someone said that on one of the Disney products, what they charged for catering, right, or that their bill for catering was more than a cost for making the Godzilla and the King Kong movie. So there was just tremendous waste going on. Hey, Scott, thanks for joining us. Let's see. Was a big fan when every other year the woke nonsense and prices killed it. Absolutely. We're going to talk about that next. Universal is the way to go. Yep, that's what a lot of people are talking about. Epic Universe is going to be amazing. I'm disabled and used it for 1 year, and they won't give it to me. See, there you go. There's a guy who needs a disability pass. They're not going to give it to him, and he's done with it. So just to let you guys know, Universal does, through a third party, they do their disability pass, and it's nowhere nearly as complicated as Disney. And it's really smart because, in a sense, I know it's semantics, but like, if someone was to be refused a Universal pass through this third party, they're not going to really so much get mad at Universal directly. They're going to, yeah, I'm going to call Universal. This place is, I'm going to tell them how bad they're doing. Disney is on the firing line with this, and they're really, it's really a problem. So, all right, Scott brought it up. Let's talk about the next problem here, which is Star Wars and Marvel, mostly Star Wars. How Disney has pretty much killed that entire brand now. When Disney when Disney bought Marvel and Star Wars for 4 million and 7 million respectively, right? The reason they bought these brands, the reason they bought the brands, and I could tell you this 100% because I was working in store 777 in Manhattan, the flagship Disney store in Times Square. The reason they bought those two brands was they needed brands which had boys merchandise. Disney has always been a strong brand. Boys love Disney. Boys love the rides. We love Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion, all that. But if you think of the third party for Universal, I'd have to look that up for you, Scott. I'll look it up for you in a bit here. I just want to finish that thought. If anybody, Lewis, if you could look up the third party, if you're on there for Universal that does the disability passes, it's a big company. I think they do it for JetBlue as well, Scott. We'll check into that though for you. But the reason they bought those two brands was for boys merchandise because they realized that they wanted to make more money. They realized that Disney was always strong with princess dresses and magic wands and the little cute animals. So they bought these two brands specifically for boys. And they left Marvel alone for about 4 or 5 years. But with Star Wars, they completely just made it like they almost on purpose were going against. It seemed like men. It seemed like their core audience, which was like men between 16 and 65, which love Star Wars. They made Galaxy's Edge. What did they do in Galaxy's Edge? They didn't put any legacy characters really in there. It's in the Star Wars universe. So in my mind, I mean, look at the shows that they've made. they've been okay. I like Ahsoka. I mean, first 2 seasons of Ahsoka were okay. Um, After the third season, they made it all about Bo-Katan. So it seems like if you're pretty much a man in Star Wars, they're gonna really, really put the hammer to you because why I don't know. Why they're looking to lose all this money, I couldn't tell you. These things are losing so much money. If you look at the Acolyte, it cost them $180 million to make this, which is like the length of a movie, 8 episodes. It's like 13%, 12% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It is doing horrendous. It's the streaming is getting worse and worse every week. Um, and you said it, and then where was the money? No actors. They don't have any big actors in the thing. The sets aren't that great. I mean, Lewis and I were just talking about. Oh, you're welcome, Scott. Oh, you're a retired NYPD from 9/11. Wow, we're really proud of you, Scott. I mean, we very grateful. Thank you for your service. Much respect. As you know, I'm from Brooklyn. My father had a shop on 87 National Street for over 60 years. He was a watchmaker. He used to do a lot of work for the police in one police plaza. A lot of them would bring him their watches to fix, and he just, he was like the little mayor of Lower Manhattan. So thank you for your service, Scott. We really appreciate you. And I wish if we could figure out a way to get you that disabled pass, maybe we could figure something out for you. But yeah, it's terrible what they've done. So the woke nonsense. Again, no one has a problem with anything, and I think this is the problem of most people who's and some of these people, and so now like the people who are in the Acolyte, Leslie Headland, people like that. Oh, if you're a woman, men are coming out against us, and this and that. No, we just want our heroes, we want our characters. You know, to me, it seems crazy. Yeah, Park Slope Boy, exactly. Holy Name and Bishop Ford High School. If you gave me a $50 million budget, me and my friend Lewis would get together and we would probably make the most incredible Star Wars thing going because it's not that hard. I mean, you get something new, you get a nice creative story. A character has a problem in the beginning, whatever. Maybe he's a thief, maybe he's lost his faith, whatever, and he has a little adventure. And at the end, there's a moral or whatever. You throw some cool special effects in there. You make them. It's not that hard. But Disney has completely turned this thing on its head. Now, all of these remakes, this woke stuff with the remakes, this hasn't been talked about too much, but there's a lady out there, an actress, Rachel Zegler, her name is, and I don't know. I mean, for instance, so they're making in 2025. This has gone through 3 reshoots already. So I don't know where. So all this money from Inside Out 2 is going down the drain because third reshoot for the Snow White movie. So it's a Snow White movie that's a live action remake. I guess there's going to be CGI in it. And this girl, Rachel Zegler, is in it. And she came out. And if you've ever seen on YouTube, she's got a famous comment. And she goes, weird, 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 like that. And the reason she's saying weird, weird, weird is because she's talking about the original Snow White movie, which was the first movie that Walt Disney did from 1937, which is a classic, which should be untouched. This should be like a piece of gold you put on the mantelpiece. But what are they doing in this movie? Now, again, I'm not going to give you any spoilers or whatever, but Gal Gadot was in it, so they got a couple of stars in it. But what's one of the premises that they've gotten rid of in this movie is they're not going to have the true love kiss for the prince. They're not having that. It seems that she's going to wake up not because of the kiss from the prince. She's going to wake up because her father told her that she was like a leader or whatever, and it's time to get going or whatever. So when Rachel Zegler says weird, 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 she basically calls Prince Charming a stalker, and which wasn't the case at all. And so she said, "Oh, we made a modern movie, not like that old movie in 1937." Well, hey, guess what, sister? One day, time goes pretty fast. Your movie in 2025 is going to be pretty darn dated. I mean, the biggest testament to this is those of you out there who have wedding photographs of yourself or of your parents. Now, and this is a big one well, I'm not going to say so much for my parents, probably more for my sister because she's 10 years older than me. And when she got married back in 1977, the tuxedos that were in style were these loud disco era tuxedos, which was like the frilly shirts, like, like when Jerry Seinfeld says, "I don't want to be a pirate." So the shirts were like purple. The tuxedos came in purple and green, and the shirts were frilly with the bow tie. And when you looked at these things, like, and I got married in 1991, and when you looked at these things 10 years later, 12 years, you're like, oh my God. I wore one. So I was, I was in the wedding party. Um, but when you look at them, you laugh. But so, like I said, I mean, she's showing her immaturity because her movie, I like to see her movie last that long. It's not going to. But, all right, so more woke stuff. I mean, all right, so here's a kicker, and I think you'll appreciate this, Scott, and you'll be surprised to hear this one, or maybe you won't be. July 4th at the Magic Kingdom, empty, only about 35,000 guests. Along with that, right, along with this, they did not decorate the Magic Kingdom patriotically. They put a few buntings in Town Square, right? The fireworks, which are usually a double fireworks on 4th of July, they didn't start the fireworks till 9:30. Now, again, I was watching a live stream from one of the people I subscribe with, and I'm friends with her. And I texted her to make sure, and she said, "Yeah." She says the fireworks were 7 minutes long. They usually start at 9:20. They started at 9:30. It wasn't a double fireworks. It was only 7 minutes long or 8 minutes long, and that was it. And there was no product. She got a pair of mouse ears off a Loungefly, and there was none that they weren't selling patriotic mouse ears. People were asking her all night where she got them. She said, "Oh, I got them online from Loungefly." They weren't selling them. So, like, 4th of July, I mean, so it seems like they're taking everything that Walt did and stood for and just completely turning it on its head. Let's see what Lewis is saying here. Can't wait to see if there's any way to salvage the live action Snow White. It does sound like they're better off writing the movie off. At this point, Lewis, they said they finally wrapped it up again for literally the third time. And you and I were just talking yesterday after our podcast thing about Captain America 4, how it's gone through 3 reshoots, and the budget's probably going to be about $400 million by the time they get done with the marketing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just amazing. But going back to the whole woke stuff, I mean, again, I have relatives in my family, and we come from a regular family. One of my sister-in-laws refuses to go to Disney World. She comes down and she visits. She refuses to go there because of all the woke stuff. Now, you want to hear another bombshell? Now, I left Disney in 2021. We just needed a break from Orlando. Again, not to spend too much time on this. We lost Matt in 2019. We just wanted a break from Orlando, and then, whatever. So I left the company in 2021. And again, I always left with the intention. I knew I'd probably come back to it one day. But so in 2021, what was going on, I worked during the pandemic. Did I get in order to stay working for the company, I had to get the shot for COVID. I mean, again, my brother-in-law was older. My son had passed away. My father was still alive at that time. I don't know what to do. Disney sent out a mandate that you had to get the shot in order to stay with the company. Now, I know a lot of people that I worked with, and these were cast members for a long time. One of them was really, really, I mean, one of them, I'm going to tell you, did flag retreat. I'm not going to mention his name. Nobody, if you don't know what flag retreat is, thank God it's still one patriotic thing that they're still doing in Magic Kingdom that I used to do too. You raise and lower the flag every morning and every night, like a military thing. Security does it. This guy did it better than anybody. Interacted with the veterans like no one did before. He refused to get the shot. He left the company. Now, an amazing thing that I found out that I'm not surprised about, one of the things that Disney did bring back just recently is pin trading, right? And it's funny. And here's the thing, and this is another reason why I'm doing the stream, is because mainstream media is not reporting a lot of these things. They are not really reporting it. You'll see a few articles here and there, but they're not reporting this. And so what tends to happen is you find out information because they're talking about something else. So in the case of the pin trading, right? They were talking about, oh yeah, we started pin trading again, and oh, we didn't realize it, but we had to train half of our cast members because they had never done pin trading before. And so it dawned on me, half of your cast members, that's a big group. So over 50% of the cast members working in Florida, let's just say, since the pandemic, have either left, refused to gotten the shot, been fired, whatever. So they had to retrain all of these people or train them for the first time on pin trading, which is really not that big of a deal. But there are little things you don't, there's things you're supposed to do and not do. But so what I'm trying to say is that why aren't people coming? Because guess what? The experience is not the same. You have all new people in there. Now, I'm all about change. I'm all about new people. But a 50% turnaround, I mean, any baseball team or any football team, you're not going to be doing much winning with a 50% turnover unless you're getting every guy is J.D. Martinez or Derek Jeter or Keith Hernandez. Unless you're bringing in caliber like that, it's not going to happen. Hey, Fletcher, thanks for joining us. Disney clearly doesn't give a damn about men. I agree at all. Shame on them of how they've become. I can't even stomach their products anymore. Yeah, I mean, and this is what I was saying. This is the joke of it. They spent $11 million on Marvel and Star Wars because they wanted to be able to have product they could make for boys. And what did they do off the bat in Star Wars? And again, because I worked in the Disney store, I literally remember the first commercial they did it at, which was there's a family, regular extended family. In this case, I'm surprised they even did that, right? Man, woman, I think it was a boy. It was, I think, a boy and a girl, just a girl. And the kid, you don't see the kid's first face. The kid is wearing a stormtrooper costume, full with the mask and everything. And of course, we sold those at the Disney store. And after a few seconds, the kid takes the costume, the headpiece off, and you find out that the stormtrooper is a girl. And that was the first real thing of saying, okay, whatever. Then what did they turn around and they did? They made Captain Phasma a woman, which was okay. No, I mean, it's fine. I love Princess Leia. We love our heroes. But what did it do? It drove, when I tell you, there were two things that drove us crazy in the Disney store. One of them was the frozen dresses because they didn't make enough of them. And again, that really wasn't their fault. They were made overseas and no one knew how popular that movie was going to be. But when these things came in, it was like when you seen pictures of the Depression, people waiting online. I mean, there were people, and I'm not even kidding you, there were kids who were a size 3. The parents would buy like a size 14, extended size, and they would say, I'm going to buy it anyway because I'm going to have them cut it down or have my mom sew it down or whatever. That's how desperate they were. That was the first thing. The second thing was Captain Phasma because, let's face it, we're living in a modern world. There's a lot of divorce out there. So, you would kind of, again, if I've worked retail my entire life, and that's a long time, I'm 58, you kind of get the vibe right away that, and again, it's no judgment, but you kind of get the idea pretty quick that here's a guy who's got the kid for the weekend or one out of the month or whatever. And so a guy would come up and he would buy the costume with the kid. And again, they hadn't really seen the movie or hadn't known much about the character. Wasn't a tremendously big character in the movie, but the costume was super cool. Well, we got a bunch of returns because guess what? They found out that the man went home. He found out this is a girl's costume. It's a girl's character. So Disney, of course, wouldn't let us say, oh, this is for a girl or whatever. It wouldn't really been right. So they told us when you're selling this on the floor or talking about it, you have to drop the fact of, hey, this is such a great character. Isn't she amazing? She's one of my favorites. And I had to do it all the time. And I love to talk, as you know. But after like the second or third she, I would get, what do you mean she? You mean to say this isn't a guy? It's a stormtrooper. Well, no, Captain Phasma's a woman. It's the lady who played, in Game of Thrones. Oh, okay, I'm putting this back. So it's just, I mean, why create all of this confusion? And again, it isn't like, I mean, again, I'm all about female. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I'm all about female empowerment. I'm all about equal rights, equal pay, all about that. But leave people's heroes alone. Leave things alone where they should be. I'm not saying obviously the Constitution of America, it's a living document. It's meant to be extended. And if we believe that nothing is if we believe that nothing is changeable, then technically the president of the United States wouldn't be in charge of the Air Force, because in the Constitution it says he's in charge of the Navy and the Army. I mean, see, you can't be crazy with these things. But the point of it is, when you're spending, in the case of the Acolyte, $180 million on a production, and you have this nonsense and garbage and confusion, and make something new, make something different, make something that stands up. Leave our positivity. Leave somebody with heroes alone. I mean, there was a few positive moments in what I call the Disney era of Star Wars. And you guys, and anyone out there could probably remember, think about Rogue One, that whatever it was, 45, 50 seconds, when Darth Vader goes in with the lightsaber. I have friends of mine who went and saw that 5 or 6 times in the movie theater. And that's where movies really make money. It's not, yeah, it's great to go see the movie the first time, but movies really make money on the repeat, going second, third, fourth time. That's where they really make the money. And it's insane. So I don't know. So all right, so let's continue on with more of the stuff that's going on. I want to be a little positive here. Let's just talk about a couple of positive things that Disney has done with the last couple of years. And the biggest one to me has to be, one, it's the Skyliner. I love the Skyliner. If you haven't been on it, it's incredible. They're going to extend it. I can't say enough great things about the Skyliner. If you stay at Pop Century, you can get it there. It goes to Hollywood Studios. It goes to Epcot. It is the most peaceful, tranquil, for free ride in Disney. It is amazing. So if I went back to Disney today and people said to me, what role would you want? I'd probably take, I don't know, character attendant, because that's kind of closest to Dream Squad. But if they offered me Skyliner, I would probably initially take that, because I do love transportation stuff. So Skyliner was one of them. The other one would be Guardians of the Galaxy. Amazing, incredible. Can't say enough great things about it ride. Between the soundtrack, I mean, it's incredible. So that's another win for Disney. So those are two positive wins for Disney. And I'm going to throw another one in here as well, which is, now again, let's talk about Epic Universe. And this kind of ties in to a positive for Disney. Disney's legacy is incredible. And even though Epic Universe is coming in, let me tell you, Epic Universe, this could be one explanation as to why some people aren't coming to Orlando this year, is because they're waiting for Epic Universe to open, which some people say it's going to open in February. Universal's saying it's going to open summer of 2025. I have a friend of mine, this is, again, kind of not confidential, but a friend of mine who works for one of their hotels, who said, for some reason, all of the rates go up in February. So there's either going to be a soft opening or something in February, because the rates are all going up then. But anyway, whenever that opens, it's all new. The animatronics, if you look this up, they released a video of the Wolfman. They're going to do, one section is going to be Dark Universe, all the Universal monsters. They're doing Mario Land. They're doing, oh my God, what's the other one? How to Tame Your Dragon. And these are all going to be cutting edge areas with street performers. These are all the things that Disney used to do, all cutting edge situations. And the fact of the matter is people are going to go there because they're going to spend their hard-earned money right there. And again, apologies to Lewis for this one. You've heard the story a couple times, that a friend of mine called me up last year, and he said to me, I want to go to Disney. I haven't been there in like 7 or 8 years. What is new with Disney? Now, again, I go to Disney again. It's a different deal for me. It's memories. It's whatever. I see my friends who still work there. It's a different deal for me. But I said, wow, and this is a tough guy. This is a guy who, when he was in the neighborhood, he was very passionate about his son's baseball team. And at one point, the league forbade him for going, because he used to always argue with the umpires. So this is a passionate man that I don't want to really be upsetting. So I said to him, listen, I said, there's not a lot that's new that you haven't seen. I said, but I have a solution for you. It was in August, and I told him, go to Mickey's Not So Scary, because they put live actors, which is, again, if they want to come up and go toe-to-toe with Universal, they can do it. Go to Mickey's Not So Scary, and he loved it. So here's what I'm saying. Disney has the legacy characters and the product. They could at any time get off the canvas and make a go of this. Now, when people talk about Epic Universe, do I think that Disney's going to roll up the carpet and go away? Absolutely not. But they're they used to be a far number one. It was Universal was you had to really look in the rearview mirror to see them. Universal is by giving them a run for the money. I mean, it used to be that Universal only made more money than Disney in the month of October than Disney. And I can't go into this on here, but those of you who know me, I'm not a tremendous fan of Universal. I know Matt would never say that I shouldn't go there, but enough's being said about that. Um, so, so for me to talk positive, look, I could never dislike an entire company. So that's the whole point of what I'm saying. But when I'm saying this is that they're not paying me by any stretch or whatever. I'm just doing this as an intervention for Disney. But I do say that Disney can, at any time they want, get up off the canvas, and they will, in the end of the day, they will be okay. Right now, there's rumors come out of Lucasfilm, which they're going to have to upend that whole place. If I was George Lucas, I'd buy it back and kick them all out. But there's rumors now that they're going to, after all this beating that they've taken with the Acolyte and all the ratings and the movies and I mean, I like Last Jedi, but anyway, enough said about that. They've taken a beating with this. They are going to go back, they said, probably to Luke Skywalker and bring him in, do a little CGI. Mark Hamill's still alive. We know Harrison Ford is not big on the character, so maybe leave him out of it. Hayden Christensen, I would do a series just on Hayden Christensen as Vader. Let them do something like that. Hayden Christensen loves that character. That's what they need to do. Let's see what Lewis says here. Truth be told, if I lived elsewhere and I had the choice of going to Disney this year or putting all the money into the Epic Universe next year, I'm picking Epic Universe. I agree, Lewis, totally. And why else? Here's another reason that you'd want to wait for next year. Maybe not as big as Epic Universe. I found out today that next year, 2025, or late, probably 2025, right around the time that Epic Universe opens up or so, we're actually getting a new museum and experience. I say we, I'm in Sarasota. Still think I'm in Orlando. My heart is still there. The Wizard of Oz Museum and virtual experience and miniature golf. And the guy, there's a museum. This guy owns a museum over in Cocoa Beach area. And it's a Wizard of Oz museum. And he's got all kinds of things in there from the Wizard of Oz and all that. But it's going to open up right near medieval times on 192. And this is a short thing. The guy's already bought the property. I did a video on it today. Apologies to anybody who watches that video. I thought YouTube can be so difficult when it comes to music and things like that. I thought I had a really nice rendition of something that I found that somebody had done of Over the Rainbow. And of course I uploaded it and there was a copyright thing on it. So I had to switch it with a non-copyright song. So I apologize for that. If you're watching that video, probably watch the first minute and a half and the last minute and a half, because the middle minute or two is just it's a nice song. I'm just showing some pictures, but that's what happens with it. So this is what's going on. But again, so let me look right now. So now you got to remember something. Let's see. Oh, talking about this is funny. I just got a text from one of my wife's nephews, and I told you I'm kind of like a travel agent, and talking about one of them is actually coming to Orlando, and so this is great. They have a cute little kid that we're going to end up going with, so that's cool. I'll answer them back later on that. Really, really awesome. So I'm going to look right now, and I want to look at my app to tell you what the wait times are in the Magic Kingdom. Now, you got to remember, this week in July, and I'm telling you, I worked there for 7 years. I know it very well. I worked security. I got the forecast every single day. When I was a land unit, whatever I was doing, foreman at the front, trainer, they would give me the forecast every single day, which told me how many people were expected to come into the park, which hotels were capacity, You knew Disney gives you a lot of information. So let's just let's look for the tip board for today. And you got to remember, this is going to be should be the busiest week of the year. Okay, so let's. I'm on Epcot right now, so I'm going to change parks to Magic Kingdom. All right, so these should be the highest wait times of the year, July 4th week or whatever. Right, Astro Orbiter 35 minutes. All right, that's not bad. All right, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, 40 minutes for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This week in summer, it should at least be 60 or 80 minutes. I don't know. See? Here's one that you'll see. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, 25 minutes. It's 5:52 in the evening, and it's only 25 minutes for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. Let's see what else we got here. Dumbo the Flying Elephant, 10 minutes. All right, there's two of them. That's pretty low as well. Hall of Presidents, we know. All right, here's a kicker. The Haunted Mansion, a 20-minute wait for the Haunted Mansion on July 8th, a peak. This is the peak week, other than New Year's and Thanksgiving week and President's week and Easter week, maybe. This is the peak week. Kids are off from school. Don't forget, in the South, kids go back to school like first week in August. 20-minute wait for the Haunted Mansion. Jungle Cruise, 25 minutes. When do you see that? Oh, and here's the other kicker, right? Guess what? Guess what time they're closing until further notice? 10 o'clock at night. When would you ever see the Magic Kingdom close at 10 o'clock at night on a summer night? Never. Never. I mean, working there, 11 o'clock, maybe, and then they would leave Main Street open for another hour. I mean, this is incredible. Incredible. For them to be shutting this down that early is insane. I never thought in my lifetime I would ever see that. Ever. I mean, it's really hard to believe. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Winnie the Pooh, 35 minutes. That's pretty short too. Let's see here as we go along. And this app is very, very accurate. All right, Pirates of the Caribbean, 10 minutes. All right, we know that's a high capacity ride, but still, 10 minutes for Pirates, 6 o'clock at night, on a night when it closes at 10 o'clock. Insane. Now, when we used to live, believe me, as my friend used to say, EMH, right? Thanks, Peter. They used to do extra magic hours until 2 a.m. I don't think they're doing extra magic hours tonight, but even if they are, it's But like he says, it was open late. I remember going there 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You'd be in there. I mean, man, I have a fast pass somewhere from July 4th. I think it was July 4th. I don't know, 2006 or 7, and it's for Splash Mountain, 12:30 at night. Incredible, incredible. So I don't know. I mean, and it just seems like they're charging more money. Now, there's a thing that they have called D23. I don't belong to it. I mean, I don't know. I'm an annual pass holder, but D23 is this thing that you join. It's Disney. You get a flyer in the mail, I think once a month. You get like a little collection of coins or something once a year. And the membership, I think gold membership is $99 for a single person and $129 for a couple. And so you get to be involved in special events. So I guess where I'm going with this is that Disney seems to be more than ever double dipping. They've gotten rid of fast passes, by the way. If you haven't been there for a while. I don't know if you saw this lightning lane thing that they're doing now, or Genie, or whatever the heck they're calling it now. You got to pay extra for that. And I think right now, Tiana, you can't even ride Tiana because you got to pay. I think you got to pay to get on it, or you got to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning if you don't want to pay for it. So they're pretty much forcing you to pay for it. So it's like $30 for a quarter lightning lane for now, because they got a different name to it now. So with this D23 thing, they have now Country Bear Jamboree has been refurbished. They're singing all new songs, which I think it's going to be cute. On my channel, I have one of the newest songs that they have. Right, it's going to be from Zootopia. One complaint that my wife brought up, oddly enough, was that I told her the list of the songs that's going to be on there, and she said, "Wow, those are all Disney songs from Disney movies." And I was like, "Yeah, like A Whole New World from Aladdin and Try Everything, right from Zootopia." And she said, "Yeah, but the other songs were all original songs." So I said, "Holy cow, you're right. They've gotten rid of that originality, and they're going with all Disney licensed songs." And so again, a lot of that originality is going away. But with this D23 thing, I had to laugh at this. So $99 for a gold membership. So now, this is opening up July 17th, Country Bear Jamboree, new outfits, new songs, right? But if you belong to D23, if you go there on July 13th, I had to just check it up here. I wrote it down. If you go there on July 13th, then if you belong to D23, on top of your $99 that you paid, on top of your park admission, because that doesn't give you park admission, so it's on top of your $99, your $175. For an additional $56, you could go in and watch a 8-minute Country Bear Jamboree show 4 days before it opens up to the public. So I don't know. Very, very odd. I mean, I think it's crazy. I think it's ridiculous. Honestly, like, what I pay, I have a YouTube channel. Would I pay for it? Would I go do it? Probably. But again, when you talk about people coming and why they're not coming, they're getting frustrated. They're charging for everything. They're price gouging everything. Let's see. Image. If I paid $170 a pop and I wasn't able to get on the newest rides, I'd be unbearably upset. You're right, Lewis. And 24% of the time, those rides are down. And Tiana's is a nightmare. Tiana's has been down. People are saying that it's the humidity inside the cave. It's something or other. Splash was never down that much. So where that $100 million went, God only knows, because it didn't go to fixing up anything in the ride. Or I don't know what the heck they did with that, but the ride is always broken. And a lot of times, which you'd never see, you talk about, you think about that when you work for Disney, right? There's 5 keys, right? Now let me see if I can remember the keys, because I've been out of the company for three months, or no, I've been out of the company 3 years. It's inclusion, service, courtesy, efficiency, and show. So service, courtesy, efficiency, efficiency, can't say it, and show, and they added inclusion. So show and efficiency are 2 of the keys, right? The ride is always broken. I mean, it was down for months. People are paying primo money, and the ride is down almost all the time. They're only sending a trickle of water down the water slide. A lot of times the logs come down with no water down there, because it's a ride. The water has nothing to do with the ride going down. It's an aesthetic. We know that. But could you imagine Walt Disney walking around the park? If you guys don't know the story of the two-fingered point, how did that start, right? Walt Disney was a big smoker, right? So here we go. Here's a pen in my hand instead of a cigarette. Walt would go around the park and talk to everybody, and he would talk like this, and there's the 2 fingers right there. Well, Disney airbrushed the cigarette out of his hand, and when you work at Disney, you're supposed to do what they call the two-fingered point. Could you imagine Walt walking around Walt Disney World right now? The official name is Walt Disney World, because that's what Roy changed it to after Walt died. Could you imagine what Walt would say or do? And the billboards that are up, and the light bulbs that are out, and what happened to the Osborne lights, and all these different things. The guy would go bananas. He would shut the whole place down. Do you remember what Walt did when Disneyland was being created, and the city of Orange County said to him? Orange County said, "Hey, Walt, we're so glad that you're here. We're going to install all your electric for free." And Walt was like, "Wow, it's fantastic. I love it." Right? So I think he went somewhere on a cruise, or he was doing something. He came back a week later What did he see? All these electric poles, wooden poles, all throughout Disneyland. He was like, "What's this?" "Oh, well, that's your electric." He goes, "I thought you were going to sink the lines in the ground." "Well, we're not going to do that. We're paying for it. We're not going to. That's it. Take it out." So he took all that out. He paid for it himself. This is what Walt, was Walt a saint? Was Walt absolutely perfect? Nobody is. But he believed that all kids should have the same experience, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, all kids should have the same experience. When he'd sit on that bench with his daughters and he'd look out and he'd come up with these ideas, that's what he felt. They have gone so far away from what Walt Disney's vision was and what he stood for. I mean, and you know what? Walt, again, when we talk about Walt Disney, it's not so much Walt was a good man, but Walt embodied the World War II values, the greatest generation. So Walt's values were the values of most of America: hard work, honesty, right? Creativity. I mean, this was, and look, Walt was a nervous guy. Walt had 3 or 4 nervous breakdowns. He was bankrupt a couple of times, but he was all in. He was a dreamer. He was, everyone knows the story why him and Roy got along so well, because Roy was kind of the banker and stuff like that. But that's who Walt was. Let's see, what does Pete say? Walt understood he was selling nostalgia. Exactly, Pete. Walt Disney World often succeeded during difficult times because people wanted to feel nostalgic, 100%. Current management is offended by nostalgia, and it's strange. You're right about that. You kind of get the feeling that they want to destroy the nostalgia. I mean, look at the Snow White movie. Look around the parks. Now, again, I'm all about Pride Week. I've never had a problem with Pride Week or any week. It should be inclusive for everybody. But I guess in the case of situations where people get mad is that, again, we go to the Magic Kingdom a lot, right? If you walk around Magic Kingdom or Epcot, there's paintings that they put up like once a year or for the whole month of June for Pride. There is a ton of product. You can look at one of my videos that I did last year. There was a ton of Pride product. Fantastic. But the fact that there's no American product, there's a couple of shirts and a couple of things. I mean, they didn't even, Donald Duck just had his 90th birthday. It was minimal. They had maybe 3 or 4 shirts, a few little things. I took a couple pictures with some of the stuff and put it on Facebook. It wasn't that big. This is Donald Duck, one of your signature characters, an original, going way back to 1934. It's just hard to imagine, but again, I mean, there's lots of people who don't want to go there, and it's a shame. And going back to what I was saying, I don't think Disney's going to roll up the carpet. I think what's going to happen is, here's the problem I see, and this is, again, the last time we had gone to Magic Kingdom, whatever, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, we had stopped by Quick in Old Town because Kerry was like, "Oh, I haven't had Nathan's in so long," and I was like, "Oh, I love hot dogs. There's a Nathan's in Old Town." Old Town was very, very quiet. Of course, it was middle of the afternoon. But what's going to happen is all of these other attractions are going to suffer. And this is the biggest problem of Epic Universe opening up now is, and this is going to be a little bit of an issue for Disney, is that now Universal is a full vacation. Used to be 2 parks and City Walk. Now it's going to be 3 parks. They got more and more hotels. And people now all of a sudden are going to be like, "Hey, I'm going to stay at Universal the whole week. I'll go there for 3 days to the parks. I'll spend some time in the pool. I'll go to iDrive. I'm not even going to go over to Disney." Now, we got 58 minutes. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up soon, but there's another topic I want to touch on. The special district. Now, this is a whole show in and of itself. For those of you who don't know, Walt Disney World used to be like the Vatican. It was a city state inside of it, just like the Vatican is a country inside of Italy. Walt Disney World, Walt arranged this, and Florida gave it to him. It was called the Reedy Creek District. And for 55 years, it operated completely on its own. They did their own thing, their own fire department. That's why you got Reedy Creek Fire Department. Well, with this whole thing about, don't ask, thing with the school situation, Florida got incensed by it. And long story short, you guys know the story. Governor DeSantis took away Disney's special district. So now they've estimated that over 100 years, they're gonna lose something like $2 or $3 trillion over 100 years. So all right, just quickly, if you don't know what the special district did for them, basically, simply, if because Disney had the special district, they didn't have to worry about permits through the city and going through channels the way you normally would. So if all of us got together and we all won the Powerball and we said, hey, we're going to open up a hotel and we're going to call it the Tropical Fish Hotel, right? It would take us probably 2, 3, 4 years to build that hotel because we would have to go through permits. We'd have to go through the county, the city, God knows what, right? Disney being its own city state, they could say, well, you know what? We like that idea, Tropical Fish Hotel. We're going to call us the Crush Hotel. And they could open it up in 6 months if they wanted to, like that, because they didn't have to worry about that. Now it's just one factor of it. So now that they don't have the special district, throw that in there too. So it's been a rough year. But like I said, I don't think Disney's going anywhere. But I do think that this is no longer a one person race. I think it's Universal is running neck and neck with them. Do I think Universal is ever going to have the legacy that Disney has or had? I mean, it's got a good legacy with Mario and there's different things in it, but I still think, at least in my lifetime, I'm still young, young enough or old enough to remember watching Walt Disney on television. Even because I was born in '65, and even though he died in '66, he was still, they had him on TV in the '70s, and so I really didn't know he wasn't alive or whatever, and so I'm of an age where I still remember all those people, and I still remember, a lot of the Disney family that was alive and stuff. So that legacy is still going to stay on. So is Disney World going to roll up the carpet and go away? Probably not. But and it definitely won't, because they could just turn around. They've got a lot of different ways of making money. They've got the movies, they've got these TV shows. I mean, a stupid thing that they really did, if they want to make some money, get rid of Disney Plus, because they are taking such a bath on Disney Plus. They could have licensed out their movies and made billions. I sound like Carl Sagan, right? They could have made billions licensing them out to Showtime and Max and Pluto and all these other things that are out there. They're making no money on their movies. If you remember, the first thing that Michael Eisner did as CEO, because he worked, he was in Hollywood, a producer and all that, right? What was the first thing that he told them? Because other than that theme parks, they were making no money on their characters or anything when he came in, right? He said to them, start putting your stuff on VHS. Start putting your stuff out there. Make Tron, make a movie, start making movies again. This is what he told them. So they need to I would get rid of Disney Plus, to show you how desperate they are at Disney Plus. And I love Disney Plus. I watch it. We do podcasts on it. I love it in its essence, but from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint, and I don't own any Disney stock, from a stockholder thing. Oh my God, if I was a stockholder, man, oh man, I'd be nervous. But here's the thing. It does not make money for them. It's a losing battle. So this is how desperate they are at Disney now, in terms of, they're looking at YouTube, right? Guess what Disney Plus, guess what these magnificent minds at Disney are thinking of right now? They're saying it's because they used to be an innovator. Now they're a duplicator, right? They're looking at YouTube, which has about a 10 to 11% streaming percentage, right? That's the big gun, right? Is YouTube. Disney Plus is about 1.4. They've slipped to like 6th place. What do you think Disney Plus wants to do right now, or is thinking about doing? But they don't have the infrastructure for it. YouTube's been doing this for a long time. They want to create a content on Disney Plus. Can you believe it? That's how desperate that they are. But they're not set up for it. I don't know. As a creator, would I like to see it? Yeah, amazing. I don't know. I mean, certainly this video wouldn't be on Disney Plus. That's for sure. And that's a funny, real thing about working for the company, is that the last time I worked for the company, I've had my YouTube channel since 2017, and I don't really make. I mean, I don't know if this you could say this is controversial. This is a like I said an intervention, but when there was something that had come up with somebody or something, and they came in one day. It was 2017. No, it was 2019. I'm sorry, because I was in security then at Magic Kingdom, and they came in one day and they just had this random paper. Because when you work for Disney, you got to sign your life away. There's just you literally go for like 3 or 4 hours where you do it at home of just signing in them initially. You don't even know what you're signing after a while. And they literally came in there and they said, does anybody who works for the company have a YouTube channel? And you had to say whether you had a YouTube channel or not. And again, because I was a foreman and a trainer in security, I had a lot of friends who were investigators and managers. Obviously, I worked with them. I had to work with them every single day and deal with them and whatever. These investigators, they specialize. Some of them have like 5 YouTube accounts. They got 5 Facebook accounts because they nail these people that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. And don't you know, they went and they looked at everybody's YouTube channel, and I had to write down what my YouTube channel was and all that. And of course, a lot of my videos are broken videos, so it was no problem. But I remember a friend of mine who I worked with on monorail. He had one video where he put a joke video on it of like some monorail doing something, and they called him up and they said, "Listen, before you come into work tomorrow, take that off of your channel. Otherwise, don't come back until you take that off." And he had to erase it. And so it's tough, and again, when you sign these papers, it's a with all this being said, I highly recommend working for the company, especially if you're not going to get paid $1 billion if you're comfortable and you've got a pension or something like that, and you look it's incredible. It's just if you like people and you like stories, there's literally 1 million people on property every single day. There's so much that goes on every single day. It's funny, it's crazy, it's nuts, but it's Disney, and what can you say? But one of the things when you come into the company, they say, "Do you own a company that does business with Disney?" Now, people all laugh at that one. If I owned a company that was doing business with like if I owned what's one that does business with Disney? What's the Ken's salad dressing? Just off the top of my head, Coca-Cola, whatever. If I own Coca-Cola, right? Um, if I own Coca-Cola, I'd probably have an insulin thing in my both of my shoulders right now. But can you imagine if I worked for? But I would probably do it because I love Disney. But people all laugh at that when they sign that away. So if you ever work for the company, bring a good pen, or you'll probably be doing it on a computer. Get ready to sign your life away because you will sign things that you didn't even think existed. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it today, and I'm starting to do more of these things. And I got home from work, and I'm not picking Carrie up till 10 o'clock, so I thought let me just do one of these. And I thank everybody for joining me on here, Lewis and Scott and Peter. Love all you guys, and thanks for your support. And hey, we're gonna keep doing keep loving Disney, keep doing interventions. Because why are we doing it? Thank you, Lewis. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you so much. We love Disney, and that's why we're doing it. We're not doing it to be critical. We're not doing it to be hateful or hurtful. We're doing it like I consider Disney a family member. It's like if you were my family member and you came out and you had a purple shirt and red pants and a green tie, it would be my duty to say, "You look ridiculous. Go back in there and get something else." That's what I'm doing for Disney. So, with that in mind, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys on the next live stream or in the videos, whatever. Really appreciate you joining. So, until next time, what are we going to say? Tigger, ta-ta for now. See you real soon. Grand Floridian, have a grand day. All right, folks. Sorry I'm looking down. I'm so used to looking down. I should be looking up, but I feel like I'm watching the live stream. So anyway, I'll get it down pat, and I'll make it a little fancier. What do I have back here? I don't know if you work before I go off. I figured I'd bring out some props. This is the Mr. Toad, Mr. Toad popcorn bucket, right? And I have here, you guys know he's my favorite character. Finally got a chance to meet him. This is the Figment popcorn bucket. And he's got a secret compartment. See right here? He's got. I tell Kerry she wasn't allowed to eat that. It's the zombie apocalypse popcorn that came with Figment. So he's got a secret compartment back there. So on behalf of Figment, one little spark. We'll see you guys real soon on the next one. Take care, folks. Bye-bye now.